Your voice is the most powerful tool you own, yet most people never learn how to use it with confidence. Knowing your message before you speak is the foundation of clear and confident communication, and it begins with understanding the purpose behind your words. Before entering any conversation, presentation, or discussion, take a moment to clarify what you truly want to convey. This doesn't require writing a full script. It simply means identifying the core idea you want your audience to walk away with. When you know your message, your thoughts have direction, and your speech becomes naturally more organized and impactful. Many people struggle with clarity, not because they lack vocabulary or speaking skill, but because their thoughts are scattered. By anchoring yourself to a central message, you prevent unnecessary detours, reduce filler words, and create a smoother flow from one idea to the next. Once the message is clear in your mind, think about why it matters. When you understand the importance of what you're saying, your voice naturally carries more conviction. This conviction creates confidence, and confidence helps your audience trust you. People respond not just to information, but to the energy behind the information. A speaker who knows their message speaks with purpose, and that purpose helps the audience stay engaged. This is why preparation is so powerful. It doesn't mean memorizing every sentence. It means becoming so familiar with your message that your words follow naturally, even if the phrasing changes each time. Preparation gives you the freedom to be flexible and the stability to stay grounded. Another part of knowing your message is anticipating the questions or reactions your audience may have. When you think ahead, you're less likely to be caught off guard, which makes your delivery smoother. Consider what someone hearing your message for the first time might wonder. What additional context might they need? What examples could help them understand? What misconceptions might need correcting? When you prepare with these possibilities in mind, you speak more clearly because you're addressing not only what you want to say, but what your audience needs to hear. This level of awareness reflects confidence and competence, even if you still feel nervous on the inside. Clarity also improves when you simplify your message. Complexity often hides the true point, causing confusion for both the speaker and the listener. When your message is simple, it becomes easier to articulate. Break down your main idea into smaller supporting points and keep only what is necessary. This doesn't limit your speech, it strengthens it. Listeners follow a simple message more easily, and a simple message is easier for you to remember and deliver. When you remove unnecessary clutter from your thoughts, your speech becomes more direct, and direct speech sounds more confident. Another benefit of knowing your message is that it helps you manage nervousness. Many people fear forgetting their words, but when your message is clear, even if you forget a sentence or phrase, you won't lose your direction. You can always return to your main idea. This creates a sense of safety. Instead of clinging to exact wording, you rely on understanding, and understanding is far more stable. Nervousness often comes from uncertainty, and clarity removes that uncertainty by giving you a mental roadmap to follow. Finally, knowing your message allows you to connect more authentically with your audience. When you're not struggling to figure out what to say next, you're able to make eye contact, adjust your tone, observe audience reactions, and speak more conversationally. Your delivery becomes more natural and confident because your mind is free to focus on connection rather than survival. Slowing down your pace is one of the most effective ways to improve clarity and project confidence, even if you still feel nervous inside. When people feel anxious or eager to get something over with, they tend to speed up, rushing through their words as if they're trying to outrun their own discomfort. This fast pace makes speech harder to understand, increases the likelihood of stumbles, and often leaves the speaker sounding less sure of themselves. By deliberately slowing down, you regain control of your message. Each word has room to land, each idea has space to breathe, and your audience gains time to absorb what you're saying. Speaking slowly doesn't mean dragging your words or losing energy. It means speaking at a pace that allows your thoughts and your voice to work together instead of competing against each other. A slower pace also supports your breathing. When you rush your speech, you rush your breath, and rushed breathing is shallow and unstable. That kind of breathing makes your voice weaker and your mind more anxious. When you slow down, you naturally take fuller breaths, which brings calmness into your body and helps your voice sound steadier and more grounded. This creates a cycle of confidence. You breathe better because you're speaking slower, and you speak better because you're breathing better. Audiences can hear this difference. A steady, paced voice sounds thoughtful, controlled, and assured. Even if inside you feel a bit nervous, your pacing will project calmness and authority. Slowing your pace also improves your articulation. Fast speech tends to blur consonants, shorten vowels, and compress sentences together, making the message harder for listeners to follow. But when you slow down, your mouth has time to shape sounds properly, and your brain has time to plan ahead. You're less likely to trip over your words or repeat yourself. Clear articulation isn't about speaking loudly, it's about speaking intentionally. A slightly slower pace gives you that intentionality. It also helps eliminate filler words like, and like. These fillers often appear when the mouth moves faster than the mind. When you slow down, your mind stays ahead and fillers naturally decrease. Another advantage of a slower pace is that it gives your audience time to reflect. People need moments to process new information, especially if the topic is complex or unfamiliar. When you pause between ideas, you create natural transitions that guide listeners through your message. These pauses can be silent but powerful. They allow your audience to anticipate your next thought, and they make your speech feel more structured. Pausing doesn't make you look unsure, it makes you look thoughtful. An audience will always interpret measured pacing as confidence, even if you're simply giving yourself a moment to think. Slowing down also helps you stay connected with your listeners. When you're not racing through your words, you have more attention to give to eye contact, facial expressions, and reactions in the room. You become more aware of whether your message is landing the way you intend. This awareness lets you adjust your tone, repeat key points, or clarify something without feeling rushed. It turns your speech from a performance into a conversation, even if you're the only one speaking. Finally, practicing a slower pace trains your mind to appreciate silence. Silence is not your enemy. It's a tool that strong communicators use deliberately. When you're comfortable with pausing and pacing, you give yourself room to think clearly and speak confidently. Maintaining confident posture is one of the simplest yet most powerful ways to influence not only how others perceive you, but also how you feel about yourself as you speak. Your body communicates long before your words do, and people often form impressions within seconds based on how you carry yourself. When you stand or sit with an upright, open posture, you signal strength, stability, and readiness. This physical alignment doesn't just project confidence outward. It actually sends signals to your brain that help you feel more confident internally. Your shoulders, spine, and stance work together to support your voice, your breathing, and your overall presence. A confident posture starts with grounding yourself. Whether you're standing or sitting, keep your feet planted firmly. This grounding provides a sense of physical balance, which translates into mental steadiness. When your body feels supported, your mind relaxes, and your delivery becomes smoother. From this grounded position, lengthen your spine. Imagine yourself being gently lifted from the crown of your head. This elongation opens your chest, allowing deeper breaths and helping your voice project more naturally. You don't need to appear stiff or rigid. Confident posture is relaxed, open, and centered. Your shoulders play a large role in how your posture is interpreted. When nerves hit, many people tense their shoulders or roll them forward, creating a collapsed appearance that restricts breathing and reduces vocal strength. By keeping your shoulders relaxed and slightly back, you open the chest cavity, which allows your lungs to expand fully. This improves oxygen flow, which improves breathing, which improves vocal clarity. Good posture is not just about looking confident, it physically supports confident speech. When your breathing is steady and unrestricted, your voice naturally becomes clearer and stronger. Another important aspect of posture is the alignment of your head. Tilting your head down can make you look uncertain, while lifting it too high can appear overly rigid or disconnected. Keeping your chin parallel to the floor creates an approachable yet assured appearance. This alignment also helps you maintain better eye contact, which reinforces your presence and connection with listeners. Eye contact becomes easier and more natural when your posture is upright because your field of vision opens up. You no longer have to strain to look at different people or parts of the room. Confident posture also influences pacing and gestures. When your posture is balanced and open, your movements become more controlled and intentional. You're able to use gestures that complement your message rather than distract from it. These movements become extensions of your thoughts, helping you emphasize key points and express your enthusiasm. Poor posture often results in fidgeting or unnecessary movements that signal discomfort. But with confident posture, your gestures become purposeful and aligned with your communication. Psychologically, posture shapes mindset. When you stand tall, your body tells your brain that you are capable and prepared. This internal message reduces anxiety and increases mental clarity. You become less focused on how nervous you feel and more focused on the message you want to deliver. Over time, practicing confident posture trains your body and mind to work together, making confidence feel more natural. It becomes a habit rather than an effort, allowing you to walk into any speaking situation with a presence that is steady, open, and grounded. Using steady, controlled breathing is one of the most reliable ways to support clear and confident speech because your breath is the foundation of your voice. When your breathing becomes rushed or shallow, your voice weakens, your thoughts scatter, and your nerves intensify. Many people underestimate how deeply breathing affects communication. Yet every word you speak rides on breath, and every moment of clarity begins with the control you have over your inhalation and exhalation. When you learn to manage your breath, you not only strengthen your vocal delivery, but also calm your mind, allowing your ideas to flow more easily. Steady breathing starts with awareness. Pay attention to how your body behaves when you feel anxious or pressured. Most people automatically tighten their chest and breathe quickly from the top of their lungs, creating tension that limits vocal strength. Shallow breaths can cause your voice to tremble, crack, or fade at the end of sentences. Controlled breathing, on the other hand, uses the diaphragm, the muscle below the lungs that allows deeper, fuller breaths. When you breathe from your diaphragm, your abdomen expands instead of your shoulders rising. This form of breathing brings more air into your lungs and stabilizes your voice, giving you better control over volume, tone, and pace. Another key benefit of steady breathing is the way it helps regulate your emotions. When you feel nervous, your brain releases stress signals that speed up your heart rate and tighten your muscles. Deep, steady breaths counteract this response by activating the body's natural calming system. With each intentional breath, your heart rate slows, your body relaxes, and your mind becomes clearer. This clarity allows you to focus on your message instead of your anxiety. It is much easier to speak with confidence when your body is cooperating with you instead of fighting you. Controlled breathing also gives you stronger vocal projection. Many people try to sound confident by pushing their voice from their throat, but this usually leads to strain and fatigue. Real vocal strength comes from supporting your voice with steady airflow. When your breathing is controlled, your voice becomes fuller, warmer, and more resonant. You're better able to speak loudly without shouting and softly without becoming inaudible. This balance helps you adjust your tone based on the situation, making your communication more effective and engaging. Breathing deliberately also creates natural pauses, which enhance clarity. When you speak on steady breaths, your sentences become more structured and your ideas flow more smoothly. These breaths create small moments of silence that give listeners time to process what you're saying. Pausing to breathe not only keeps your voice stable, but also makes your message easier for others to follow. It prevents you from rushing and helps eliminate filler words that often appear when your mouth tries to keep moving while your brain catches up. Consistent breathing practice can transform the way you speak. Simple techniques like inhaling slowly through the nose, letting the belly expand, and exhaling gradually through the mouth can prepare your body before any speaking situation. Practicing controlled breathing regularly builds muscle memory so that when you speak under pressure, your body automatically shifts into a steadier rhythm. Over time, this turns your breath into a dependable anchor, helping you remain calm, focused, and expressive whenever you speak. Practicing regularly to build skill is one of the most essential habits for becoming a clearer and more confident speaker, because speaking is not just a talent, It is a skill that strengthens with repetition. Many people assume that confident speakers were simply born that way, but in reality, what you usually see is the result of consistent practice over time. Just like learning an instrument, mastering a sport, or developing any craft, your speaking ability improves every time you use it. Practice helps you become familiar with the rhythm of your own voice, comfortable with expressing ideas out loud, and increasingly able to handle unexpected moments with ease. One of the most effective ways to practice is by reading aloud. Reading aloud helps you focus on articulation, pacing, and vocal tone without the added pressure of creating content. It trains your mouth to form words clearly and your breath to support longer sentences. As you read different styles of writing, stories, articles, speeches, you also expand your expressive range. You learn how to shift tone, emphasize certain words, and create natural pauses. Over time, reading aloud builds the muscle memory needed for smooth and confident delivery. Recording yourself is another powerful tool. Many people avoid this step because hearing their own voice can feel uncomfortable at first, but it is one of the fastest ways to improve. When you listen to a recording, you become aware of habits you may not notice while speaking: rushed pacing, filler words, monotone delivery, or unclear articulation. This awareness gives you specific areas to work on during your next practice session. The more you record and review, the more progress you will see, and each improvement boosts your confidence. Practicing with real people is equally important. Whether it's a friend, family member, or small group, speaking in front of others exposes you to the natural pressure that comes with being listened to. This helps you become more comfortable with eye contact, audience reactions, and the feeling of being observed. It also gives you the chance to receive feedback, which can reveal strengths you didn't recognize and weaknesses you may have overlooked. Even brief practice conversations help desensitize you to nervousness, making each speaking situation less intimidating over time. Another valuable method is rehearsing your thoughts before important conversations or presentations. This doesn't mean memorizing every word, but mentally walking through your ideas so your message feels familiar. When you rehearse, you reduce the amount of thinking you need to do in the moment, freeing up mental energy for clarity and confidence. Rehearsal transforms uncertainty into readiness, and readiness reduces anxiety. Practicing regularly also means embracing imperfection. Not every practice session will feel smooth, and not every attempt will sound confident, but every attempt builds resilience. You learn how to recover from mistakes, how to continue speaking even when you stumble, and how to adapt when something unexpected happens. These experiences are invaluable because real-life communication is rarely perfect. Confidence grows not from flawless performance, but from trust in your ability to continue despite imperfections. Consistency is the key. Short, frequent practice sessions are far more effective than long, infrequent ones. Over time, your speaking skills become second nature. You begin to notice that conversations feel easier, presentations feel less intimidating, and your voice feels stronger and more dependable. Regular practice turns speaking from something you fear into something you can handle with steady confidence. Believing your voice and message matter is the mental foundation that supports every skill involved in speaking clearly and confidently. Without this belief, even the strongest posture, the best breathing technique, and the most practiced delivery will feel unstable. Confidence begins internally, long before a single word is spoken. When you trust that what you have to say holds value, your tone changes, your presence strengthens, and your ability to connect with others expands. Many people struggle with speaking not because they lack ability, but because they doubt whether their thoughts are worth expressing. This internal self-doubt creates hesitation, weakens vocal strength, and invites nervous habits to take over. When you shift your mindset and begin to see your voice as meaningful, the act of speaking transforms from something intimidating into an opportunity to share, contribute, and influence. Believing your message matters starts with understanding that your perspective is unique. No one else has lived the exact experiences you have. Your insights, stories, opinions, and knowledge come from your life, and that alone gives them worth. People often dismiss their own thoughts because they compare themselves to others, experts, leaders, or more experienced speakers. But comparison minimizes your own voice and exaggerates the strengths of others. When you stop comparing and start recognizing the value of your own point of view, you speak with more authenticity and comfort. Authenticity is compelling. People respond to realness far more than perfection. Your belief in your message also influences how your audience receives it. When you speak with conviction, listeners naturally take you more seriously. They sense the confidence behind your words and assume that what you're saying is worth paying attention to. This doesn't require forcefulness or aggression. It simply requires certainty. When you speak with certainty, your tone becomes steadier, your pace becomes controlled, and your body language becomes aligned with your words. This alignment creates presence, the kind of presence that holds attention and earns respect. A strong belief in your message also helps you handle moments of uncertainty. Even skilled speakers sometimes forget a point, stumble over words, or lose their train of thought. What allows them to recover gracefully is the understanding that their momentary slip does not diminish the importance of what they are saying. When you believe your message still matters, you stay composed, refocus, and continue. Instead of panicking, you treat the mistake as a minor pause rather than a failure. This mental resilience comes directly from valuing your voice. Believing in your message also encourages you to speak up in situations where you might otherwise remain silent. Whether in a meeting, classroom, conversation, or public setting, your willingness to express yourself affects how others perceive you. When you hold back out of fear, people may assume you have nothing to contribute. But when you speak with confidence, you demonstrate leadership, initiative, and engagement. Even small contributions made with belief can shift conversations, solve problems, or inspire others. This internal belief is strengthened through practice, positive self-talk, and experience. Each time you speak and feel heard, your confidence grows a little more. Each time you share an idea and someone responds positively, you reinforce the truth that your voice has impact. The more you internalize this truth, the more naturally confidence flows into your communication.